I'm from the North Philadelphia area. I've been hunting probably close to 30 years now. I started hunting actually in Texas. I had gone down to Texas to go to college and had some friends introduce me. I started actually with a little bit of rifle hunting, then I moved quickly into bow hunting. I've taken up crossbow hunting sometime like the last 4 years. So my first crossbow is the one I hunted with. I have a 10-point Nitro RDS. It's one of the reverse straw crossbows. I had bought it. I wanted to treat myself to something nice. I had the opportunity and was not able at that point to buy another compound bow due to some upper back issues. So it's a great bow. It's very fast. It has a lot of good points to it, but it also has some points that I was frankly surprised to see in a what was at the time a higher end bow. The risers aren't polished. The risers are computer machined, which is very nice, but they do have sharp edges, which is a kind of a surprise. You'd think that the risers would be tumbled to give them smoother edges. Both the comb and the butt plate on the stock have screws on there. It makes them look like they are adjustable. They are a little tiny bit adjustable, but for all intents and purposes, you really can't adjust them. And again, for a high-end crossbow, you would think that throw a few more screw holes in there so that you could do a better job at adjusting the throw so you could get a better shoulder. So those are the couple of things. And last but not least, I'm not all that impressed with the optics. I know a lot of people talk about the optics, but again, for a bow that was pushing $2,000 when all said and done, it's not the kind of optics that you expect to get, such as in high-end rifle optics. It is just a 10-point stock scope. It's both green and red illuminated, or non-illuminated if you prefer, which is nice. It has a 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60-point reticle, which is nice. There's a way to sight it in so that you can then sight it in up to 40 yards, and then by adjusting the speed on the scope, you can set the 50 and 60-yard pins. So in my case, mine was set perfectly at 360, give or take, feet per second. The literature says with those bolts I should get 365, but it's not surprising to see it just a little bit under, but that's okay. Speed-wise, there's not a lot of benefit out of a faster crossbow. You do have a lot more forgiveness on when you make an error on range, but crossbows like compound bow, you're going to be limited to a fairly short distance. So being able to judge 20, 30 yards should be fairly easy anyway. So I don't attempt to take shots beyond 40 yards. So even with a fast crossbow, it's just like a compound bow. You can hit at a paper target, but hitting a real live, ethically placed shot is really not a good idea for most people. I've had this crossbow, and of course you're practicing. Usually when it's warmer out, you'll sight in, you'll spend a lot of time, and as the season changes, it gets cooler, you always go back and sight it in again. But there always comes that first day when you go out to your stand and the temperatures drop 10, 20 degrees. A cold front has moved in and you're all excited because the cold front has finally moved in. And the temperature is going to make a little bit of a difference, but again, you're only talking 20, 30 yards, and it shouldn't change that much. On my 10-point, I get dramatically different points of aim when the temperature drops like that. And it's not just a couple of millimeters, it's measured in inches, 4 inches or more. And I've had no less than 2 instances where I've completely missed the animal, the deer, at those ranges. And you wouldn't expect that. All things taken into account, clothing and other things should not make that much of a difference. Now, when you re-sight it when it's cold, it tends to stay when it's cold, but when it warms up again, you have to adjust it again. So I've done a lot of online search with a 10-point. Nobody's ever talked about it, but I do know that happens on my bow. So maybe it's the split limbs, maybe it's something I'm doing wrong, but it's definitely something I have to take into account. I sighted in yesterday. I had to move it several inches, not a problem. It had a great morning. Was really only hunting for about an hour. We walked up on a nice pig and took the shot. It was probably 15 yards. Great guide, walked me right up. Which I wanted. I wanted to stalk and get up close to the pig itself. And so yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better day. It was, I would say, about 15 yards, 15? Maybe. So might have been a little bit under that as well. And the best part about it was there was a stump behind the pig, so the arrow stuck very nicely in the stump and was easily retrieved. So I didn't lose a bolt. Very happy about that. You know, I've been watching Death by Bunjie for many years now. I'm just trying to remember how many years. I remember the first videos I saw were when you're jumping the four-wheeler and it bursts into flames.
Somewhere around season 2.
Yeah, was that season 2? So actually, I think the reason I started watching your videos, because at the time, was when I realized I was going to have to switch over to a crossbow. And now I still do some archery hunting, but for the most part, when I hunt with a bow now, it's the crossbow. So doing research on YouTube, I came across your video, and yeah, I've been watching quite a few of them, and they're always hilarious. They're informative, but they're very funny as well. The other thing I liked was I'm more about, you know, the hunt itself. I don't care if it's a trophy animal. I don't have trophies hanging in my house. It's about the quality of the meat. I like processing and butchering my own meat. And so I know when my family's eating it, I know where it came from. I know that it was ethically sourced. And I know that I, you know, personally had my hand in getting that meat and, you know, aging it, butchering it, packaging it, making sure it was, you know, the best quality. So I really like watching your videos because it showed a lot of that in there as well. So thank you. Thank you.